What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Copy Narrates. And today's stories come from r/TIFU. So let's get into today's first story, shall we? Which comes from Lunsfork. My girlfriend went on a work trip and invited me to come. It was possible for me, so I booked the flight and went. First evening was good. Dinner, then basically straight to hotel and bed. Day 2 I toured around the town while she worked. We headed towards each other in the evening. I gave her the intersection I was at when I arrived first. When she arrived, she gave me the location that she went to. It was only a block from where I was, but spans about 3 blocks. Standing at the location that comes up when searched on Google Maps, I could not see her. Told her my location again and said let's just meet there. She couldn't figure out the streets. What? Got a phone in her hand and somehow couldn't see my real-time location I shared. What? After 30 minutes of this, we were clearly agitated. Oh, I'd be agitated, alright, if I was OP right now. She gave me the name of a store and said she'd wait for 5 minutes, then take an Uber back to the hotel, and I can do whatever I want. She just wants to go back to the hotel. Would rather be home. Me too, to be honest. Store was 2 blocks away, so I started jogging. Holy crap, OP had to jog? Got there, looked all over, inside and down both streets on the corner, and she was nowhere to be found. 5 minutes was up, I was texting that I was there, asking where she is. No response for almost 10 minutes, and doesn't answer when I call. Finally she says, by the front door. I was exactly where it comes up on Google Maps when you search for the store. I frantically start running around the building, realizing it spans the entire block, and find her around the corner at the opposite end of the block, and she was talking on the phone, so I just hugged her. Relieved that I had finally found her, she blames me for not giving the name of a place she can look up. She doesn't know streets. Oh my god, this story right now. She's hungry, so I thought food might make her feel better. Every place I suggested after walking to them, she became even more upset because they were too crowded and loud, too long of a wait. I finally pulled her to grab a small snack I knew she'd like that was nearby, so that momentarily pleased her. While looking for something to drink, I guided her in the direction of a place I wanted to surprise her with a scenic view of the sunset. We sat for about 30 minutes and talked about a situation that came up with my ex, who agreed to pick up our daughter from school the day I planned to fly back before I booked the flight. As soon as I landed, got a text that she tested positive for COVID and wanted me to pick our daughter up that day. Told her I couldn't. I'm out of town. She didn't believe me, so she said she wouldn't pick her up as agreed because she'd be out of town. But because she'd be out of town. I was texting my sisters. They were shocked that she'd take her to school after exposing her and suggested calling the school. If she can't go to school, she doesn't need to be picked up. I think on it as it's already after hours. Back to the girlfriend. She thinks I'm being shady and it should be my ex's choice if she's comfortable with taking her to school, and I should just send her a picture to prove I'm not lying. I do that and she says she'll pick her up from school. Girlfriend continues to chastise me. I try to redirect the focus back to food as she's still hungry. What am I reading? We get to another restaurant I found that seems to have a quieter atmosphere and no wait. They tell us some people are just leaving so they can seat us once they clear the table. After waiting about 3 minutes, she catches a passing waitress and says, hey, we've been waiting a while for a table. Oh my god, OP, your girlfriend. Waitress half-ass apologizes and explains that she was just given 4 tables and will be sure to prioritize ours, and continues to be rude throughout the service. No, OP, the waitress wasn't rude. Your girlfriend was. She'd been there less than 5 minutes and was complaining that she'd been there ages. Are you kidding me? And they charge an automatic 20% gratuity. Yep, that's normal. She hoped to get bread while we waited. We did, but it was too dry and hard on the outside. I thought to myself, it's bread, what do you expect? Uncrustables? I literally cut the crust off some pieces and put them on her plate. Instead of using a knife to spread butter, she just jams the bread into the butter. She's constantly staring at her phone. Food arrives. She went straight for what I ordered, tasting one bite from her plate, saying it was good, then going back to eating mine. I took one bite off her plate and it was not for me. We finished my plate. Hers didn't get touched anymore. She said it sucks. So I asked her if I should ask to have it taken off to check. She said yes. So I went in and asked and they took it off. When she realised they took it off, she got very upset and threw cash on the table as we left, saying she thought I was being nice by asking for a box, so we wouldn't leave the mostly untouched dish. I tried to explain that it was just confusion and apologised. She went on and on about how terrible of a person I am, that I would have... What is this? That would even have such an idea, and only if there is something wrong with the quality of the food should it be taken off, like a bug, etc. She went on and on about everything I did wrong today. We get back to the hotel. She is planning to have a dessert delivered. As soon as we get to the room, she says she's booked another hotel and left. I'm heartbroken and afraid this could be the end of our relationship. This trip was a huge mistake and I should not have come. TLDR, I travelled halfway across the country to visit my girlfriend on a work trip. She got very upset at everything I said or did this entire evening, then booked a room at another hotel and left. Maybe this belongs in Am I the Butthole? Jesus, oh my god. Uppy, you didn't... Well, okay. Uppy, on this holiday, on this day, you didn't F up. You didn't. When you asked this girl out, that is when you effed up. Because she is absolutely deranged, Uppy. This woman is completely and utterly out of her mind. Number one, that location data thing, don't believe it. You sent her the pin from your phone to her phone. It tells her exactly where you are. And to find you, all she has to do is click the pin and set it to GPS. And it will make a map for her that will take her directly to you. So that is not an excuse. And then she says she doesn't know streets. Hello? She has her phone. She's on her phone. It has maps. It literally has maps on her phone. So it's not like she doesn't know where to go. And then you have to run to the store to find her. And when you run to the store to find her, she isn't even at the entrance to the store. She's walked around the block, around the corner somewhere, around the block halfway down somewhere, and you have to go find her. And she's not answering your texts or calls. And she also threatened to, like, leave an Uber, right? If you don't hurry up and get here, I'm going. Oh my god. And then you try to find a place to eat because she's hungry, and she's mourning that it's either too loud, or there's too many people, or it's too long of a wait. Like, what does she expect? A private restaurant where there's literally nobody but her? Like, is that what she wants? She wants to buy a restaurant OP just so she can eat? And then you surprised her with a scenic sunset view thing, which is very nice and romantic. And when you sit down, you talk about the situation with your ex, and then your girlfriend calls you shady and says that sending her child to school who potentially has COVID is the ex's choice. And if she wants to do that, that's okay. And your ex was thinking, oh my god, you have terrible taste in partners, OP. I'm just going to say that right now. Then you get to the restaurant and she is rude to the staff. Your girlfriend's behaviour in that restaurant is disgusting. And I just want to let you know, OP, that you said the waitress was rude. The waitress wasn't rude. Your girlfriend was hostile from the moment that waitress was near her. From the moment that waitress was near her. Within not even 5 minutes of being there, and she's already complaining about how long the wait is and getting on the staff's case. She can see the staff's busy. The staff just said, I'm busy with 4 tables. And your girlfriend's like, yeah, well, we've been waiting here a while, so, can you, like, hurry up? If I was a wait staff and someone was that disrespectful to me while I'm busting my butt off to try and get everyone seated and their orders and make sure that all my tables are covered and everything, and I've just watched someone walking off the street, been waiting less than 5 minutes, and they're already getting in my face about stuff. Oh boy, I would be so furious. I'd probably end up losing my job. This is why I don't work with people, because I would lose it on them. And then, is your girlfriend a baby with this bread situation? She can't figure out how to eat freshly baked bread rolls? She doesn't know. They're hard on the outside, soft on the inside. Cut them open, put butter on and eat it. Oh my god. And then the whole thing where she basically gaslights you, where she tells you that the food's bad and that you ask her if she wants it off the check, and she says yes. And then when you do that, she goes, would you do that? And starts making a big scene and trying to gaslight you and saying that you're a monster and that you're a terrible person. And how dare you throw away perfectly good food. And the only reason it should ever be thrown away is if there's a bug on the plate. And then at the end of it all, she leaves and goes to another hotel. Oppie, why are you with this person? Dump them. Dump them. Get them out of your life. Like, they are a horrible person. They are a horrible person. And people are saying in the comments, none of this behaviour is normal. It seems very normal for people at the end of a relationship. And someone else replies to that, yeah, this I understood. All the comments about the partner secretly wishing OP hadn't tagged along, and the illicit meet-up with another person weren't picked up by me. Maybe I'm just not perceptive this morning. And like, yeah, maybe she is meeting up with somebody else, right? And OP's reposted something in the comments here. On the way out the door, she said that she doesn't want to sit together on the return flight. I wouldn't be heartbroken about that one. Oh, I'd be quite happy. I told her not to worry, there weren't any seats available in a row when booking. I tried calling to change flights. My ticket doesn't allow changes. We met 9 months ago. Oh my god, you met 9 months ago. Opie, run. Run. Only had one minor argument that she was wrong about and arguing something totally trivial and ended up asking me to leave. Later found out she was on a period, so chalked it up to that. Recently, 2 other things came up that I said loosely, referring to eventual marriage and living together. She got very upset about that for over a week without saying anything. I noticed how she seemed off, keeping distant. I finally asked her what was wrong, and she wanted time to think about how to discuss it. I managed to get it out of her though. Literally the next day she was perfectly fine and back to normal. Aside from those times, everything has been amazing. She's been far better than I could possibly have made up for a perfect partner. Somehow today, nothing can make her happy and kept spiraling downward despite my best efforts to try and cheering her up. And this commenter sums this up perfectly. Dude, everything hasn't been amazing. You're choosing to gloss over how she treats you, makes you feel. This will only get worse over time, unless she wants to change, which it doesn't look like she does. I've had some hard travel days in my life, with partners where tempers swell and were hangry, sorry. I would never book a separate hotel room and leave. At the end of the day, there's always a sorry, and we'll do better tomorrow. This is unacceptable. Our next story comes from Mid-Dragon. Today, I effed up by telling a girl that I'm happy I wasn't one. Hey guys, this actually didn't happen today, but about a year ago, and was reminded of this when I was reading some of the other F-ups on this sub. I was a medical student and we were in our OBGYN rotations. This happened the day after our first visit into the labour room. Well, in theory, I knew what happens during childbirth, but the reality was a huge eye-opener. There was so much blood, feces, and amniotic fluid that the entire floor became flooded. This was a particular case of polyhydramniosis. There's too much amniotic fluid in the uterus. The next morning when we were getting ready for a lecture, my friends and I got to talking about our experience in the ward the day before, and one of my female friends remarked that it looked so painful and tiring. So this is exactly where my F-up raised its ugly head. I opened up the hole that's on my face, and the golden words, "God, I'm glad I'm not a woman," came out. The very next second, I realised what a horrible thing I had said, and I could sense 5 different pairs of eyes staring daggers at me. Chills down my spine. All I wanted to do was curl up in a fetal position and get away from everyone. One of my friends then broke the tension by saying, "Next time you better sound it out in your head before you open that pie hole." I'm not seeing why you messed up here, OP. I am still not over it. TLDR, I said that I was glad I wasn't a woman the day after we had labour room postings in front of a bunch of people, including women. There's a reason why women don't have children. Some of them don't want to raise children and take care of children. Some of them don't want to go through labour. They really don't, because they've seen the relatives go through it, or had female friends go through it, or heard stories from their female friends of going through it, and they don't want to do it themselves. It's not just women who don't want to have children. From the guy's side, obviously, it's a lot easier. It's a lot more of an enjoyable experience than the woman's side. Edit. Hi everyone, I posted this just before hitting the hay. I woke up to hundreds of comments that I never expected. This is the first time one of my post comments has ever had so much reach. Thanks to everyone, especially the ladies, for reassuring me multiple times that it wasn't an F-up. As I mentioned in one of the comments, I don't think it is what I said but how I said it. Either way, I now realise that my colleagues were a bunch of snowflakes and I had nothing to worry about. To everyone who told me that this kind of thing is what will make me a good doctor, I can't express enough how happy that makes me. It may sound surprising, but it is actually an eye-opener. I didn't actually think I was being empathetic, and when I reflect on my patient interactions over the years, I can see that I actually was. So once again, thanks everyone for the words of warmth. I'm sorry I can't reply individually to all the comments, but I have definitely given all of them a read. And Professor Bongo replies, weird, I feel like where I'm from, the response would be an appreciation of your acknowledgement that it's difficult being a woman, and someone else replies that. Sam, it doesn't seem like a bad thing to me. Also, dude is not a woman, and I want him to like his life, so I'm glad that he's happy to be male. Lol. I'd much rather be female with all the pros and cons. I am female. And someone replies to that bit. It's refreshing to hear someone say this. It sounds hard to be a woman, so I'm glad someone is enjoying it. I just love this comment thread because it's just people all appreciating how hard it is to be everyone, right? And another commenter replies, I don't think that's a big F up. It was an honest response to a traumatic event you had witnessed the previous day. Obviously, in order to say that, you were thinking of what the patient has gone through and feeling empathy for her. That's a good quality in a doctor. If you had said something like, women are disgusting, or made a comparison to livestock or something along those lines, that would have been offensive. What you said wasn't. Another commenter says, wait, I'm a woman, why is this an F up? And someone replies that it's not. And then someone else replies, I agree, I find myself a woman saying, at least once a month, how much I wish I wasn't a woman. Oh. Alright, let me know what you guys thought about the story. This comment section was just absolute gold for me. This cheered me up. This is like one of those stories where like I feel sorry for OP in that situation that like all the people around him were just like jerks that he'd made friends with. And with this comment section, I'm glad that they reassured OP that he wasn't the, you know, that he didn't mess up, that he didn't do anything wrong. And they actually says, you know, being that way is good because it means you're more empathetic to the patient. And then the comment section with all the funny replies and stuff, it's a feel-good one. Our next story comes from Ratfink19. Today I effed up by forgetting my mother has Astroturf. This happened a few months ago, but the consequences of my stupidity are still ongoing. Okay, this should be good. One of my pet rats tragically passed away, and I wanted to give him a proper burial. Sorry for your loss, OP. This is fine in theory, however I live in a first floor flat with no garden. I put him in an old takeout container and popped him in the freezer whilst I figured out how to respectfully dispose of him. My boyfriend bought a small trowel and the original plan was to go into the woods at night and bury him. We decided this was a stupid plan as the woods were always busy at night and we didn't want people to think we were up to something really dodgy, eh? We instead decided to drive a couple of towns over to Mum's house and bury him in her garden. We take the rat to her house. I solemnly walk into the garden holding my little trowel in one hand and my beloved pet in the other. Mum walks out to me, gives me a hug and says, babe, I don't think you've thought this through. Astroturf. Just effing Astroturf everywhere. She's always had Astroturf. Even when I was a kid, I was already upset, but now it just felt like a colossal defeat. I know this is meant to be sad, but I can't help but laughing at this. It's all his recount. At this point, I had already committed to burying him, and the previously frozen rat had started to defrost on the journey down, so I had to do something. My boyfriend lifted up the side of the Astroturf whilst I frantically tried to dig a hole underneath with the trowel. Eventually I managed to make a slight hole in the soil. I placed my poor rat in the hole and tried to cover it up with the soil. My boyfriend is still holding up the Astroturf at this point, and Mam is just sat leaning against the garden wall, trying not to piss herself laughing. Oh, he's definitely British. We finished the funeral, and as I look back at his makeshift grave, I noticed that there is a small rat-sized bulge in the Astroturf. I apologise to Mam, who is an absolute saint and just tells me not to be upset about it, and that she would get my brother to deal with it. I wasn't sure what she meant by this. I had mental images of my brother jumping up and down on the mound to try and flatten it back out. I didn't want to stay and watch that part. My brother dragged one of Mam's large stone plant pots and placed it on top of the grave to help flatten the ground out, pack out. I suspect he did try jumping on it first. I figured this would be the end of the cluster F of a rat funeral. I was wrong. There is... Oh god. There is a dead urban badger that roams around the street. I'm guessing it was attracted to the smell of my poor rat, as it broke into Mum's garden, knocked over a plant pot, snuffled up the Astroturf, and took the rat. I was not upset because it took the rat. That's just standard circle of life crap. What I was upset about was the sheer amount of effort and embarrassment I went through trying to put that bloody rat in the ground when I could have just chucked it out on a plate for the D-head badger to eat. So much work undone so quickly by one bastard mustelid. It has been months since burying the rat, and the badger now comes into the garden and pulls up the Astroturf at least once a fortnight looking for Mum's more treats. Mum was okay with the burial, but she is cursing my name for the fallout from it. TLDR, tried to bury a deceased pet rat under my mother's Astroturf in an absolute cluster F of a rat funeral, only for it to be dug up by a badger. A couple of days later, badger now regularly rips up the Astroturf looking for more treats. And Denaria27 has posted a little story of their own in the comments. Oh, I'm sorry, so sorry for you. I had a pet hamster in uni. Finding him dead is actually a pretty funny story too, if you want to hear that. And when he died, we decided to bury him in our back garden. As we were students, we didn't have anything to dig with. So we're out in our back garden late at night, me snivelling and not really doing a whole lot else except watching my friend bury my pet. And we hear a voice from the darkness. Do you want something to dig with? It was our next door neighbour, whose husband had just effing died from a long-term illness. And we must have disturbed her making noise, bless her. Every time I think about her watching me snivel over a pet when her husband just died, I want to curl up into a ball and be deceased myself. And someone replies to that little story with, you know, I think it probably helped distract herself from her own mourning. She sounds kind and like she understood everyone has a different reaction to their own grief, and that you're allowed to be sad over a pet, and that her losing a husband doesn't invalidate your own loss and sadness. Besides, it wasn't like you were pushing it on her. She could have chosen to ignore you. But yeah guys, let me know what you think about these both pet related stories down below. The big story that we've just read, which I'm sorry I couldn't help but laughing through. I'm sorry OP, I am very very sorry for your loss of your pet rat. I'm sure that he was a lovely rat. Hopefully better than the rat that Ronald Weasley had, right? Which turned out to be Peter Pettigrew. Scabbers. Hopefully your rat wasn't like that. Secretly evil. Hopefully your pet rat was very very nice. I'm sorry for your loss. And your ordeal. And what you had to go through. But it was also very very funny OP. So thank you for writing it the way you did. It is the kind of dark British humour that we love around here. Let me know what you guys think down below this one. Our next story comes from DJ Cell 456. Today I effed up by saying I was waiting for my dad to pick me up to a girl that maybe liked me. So for context, I'm 20 years old, I work at a movie theatre in a mall, and I don't have my driver's license yet. The reasons for the delay were because of COVID, and my own mental anxieties around driving that have plagued me for the better part of 2 years. Today I decided to go to this restaurant on the other side of the mall and eat there. I could afford it because everyone that works at the mall gets 10% off on food. That's a nice little discount. I've been to this restaurant a few times, and one time the waitress I had was a bit more bubbly than most of the staff there. I'm an autistic ex-theatre kid who works concessions at a movie theatre. I'm an absolute extrovert. I recognised how similar her body language was to mine when I worked my shift. So I didn't see it as flirtatious or anything the first time we met. Though this time I really did think she was flirting with me. I didn't want to do anything about it though because I didn't want to assume, and she was working. Since I can't drive myself after my shift is done, I have to call my parents and tell them to pick me up at a specific time. I was done eating for a while and I had already paid the check. The flirty waitress comes up to me and asks if I wanted a soda refill, and in my smooth operator way say, no, I'm just waiting for my dad to pick me up. I sounded like an effing 15-year-old. After I said, she gave me a nervous laugh and says, "Oh, okay," and left. Never in my life have I felt so dumb whilst also being unapologetically honest. I feel like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar. I eventually said, "It's not what you think. I'm 20. I don't have my license." But I think that I just dug my grave even further. Anyways, TLDR. I think I made a woman that liked me think I was younger than she thought, like a bit younger than what's socially acceptable for an adult to date. In beginning prior 7892 says to that, I don't think the context of what you said is the problem, but more so it was complete 180 from what she was asking. Do you want a refill? You should say something like, "Oh no, I'm alright thanks, my dad's going to be here pretty soon. Pick me up. I'm good with what I have thanks." But as always, sometimes our brains don't always come to the best conclusion of what to say. If you're interested in her and want to shoot your shot, I would say go back same time next week and see if she's there, and after eating to avoid awkwardness for you and her if she's not, ask her for a number or something, if she would like to see a movie or something. Anyways, good luck. And I hope you realise that saying thank you, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I'm probably one of the greatest overthinkers ever. If someone replies to that, or be more vague, "I'm just waiting for my ride" is sufficient. And someone else replies into the comments with this: "I'm a full-grown adult and proudly tell people my dad is picking me up. If a B gonna think you're 15 because your dad picks you up, you don't need any of that." And OP replies, "I mean, I won't call her a B, but I like your confidence." And yeah, OP, you could have worded it a bit differently. I probably would have went with, "I'm waiting for my ride." That would have been better, you know. I'm waiting for my ride to show up. That would have been the better route. But if you like this girl and you think that there is chemistry there, then you should try asking her out when she's not at work. Don't ask her out while she's at work. When she's not at work, try asking her out and see what she says. She might like you and say yes. And if she says no, well, nothing lost. Let me know what you guys think of this story down below, guys. And our final story of the day comes from Rare Mirror 4779. Today I effed up by conquering my anxiety. This happened on Monday, not today, but before that, I have always had pretty bad anxiety when it comes to paired work, back in school. Whenever a teacher said go and find a partner, I would always get filled with a sense of dread. It was the fear of trying and not getting anyone or rejection, etc. So I would just not do anything until I was the last one. For the sake of privacy, I won't be spilling too many specifics. I'm a college student. One of my classes is only once a week, on Mondays and 3 hours long. Across the room a few weeks ago, I noticed a very pretty individual, but thought nothing of it because I wasn't going to do anything. But she definitely is extremely good looking to me and seemingly very intelligent. Turns out this weekly class had a paired project. Familiar and old feelings set in, but this time I had the courage to finally nip it in the bud and just go for it. I can't let this feeling dominate me in college. There is an older man in the room that really seemed about his business with the class. I figured that due to his apparent age and maturity and willingness to get the project done quickly, he would be the pick. So across the room we both offered to pair up and it was done. This man is now my partner for the project. Just a few minutes later, the woman walks back into the room. She was out for a bit and to her seat. Another minute passes and she slowly shuffles up to me past everyone else and asks if I have a partner. Jesus effing Christ. I said no. She understands and walks off and finds another partner after. I check if she's fine after, and she gives me a warm smile. I yelled profanities in my head as I smiled back, while my mind told me, it's not your fault. You just wanted to complete the work and conquer your anxiety. While it was clear to me that I would have rather waited. Again, this class is once a week thing, and the project is semester-wide, so it was a great opportunity for my extremely shy self to get a foot in the door. At most, now, not looking to be oppressive. Older man does sit next to her, so I could take that as an opportunity, but it requires finesse on my part as I see it, and I am just very bad with these things. It was never much in the first place, so I might just hold it. Figured the story is pretty mild and funny, but again, I'm definitely very displeased. Lol. TLDR, I decided to get over my social anxiety in class, which immediately bit me in the butt, because if I did nothing like usual, the benefit would have been much greater. And Dragon Tiger Boss, replies to that with, well, gotta hook up with the guy now. You're in college, experimentation is normal. And OP replies that with sad crying emoji face. Acrobatic Source 3 replies this with, I have a partner for this class assignment, but not for dinner tonight, or passionate hugging, unless you count my hand. And OP replies that with, I hate everything, hahaha. And someone replies that with, bro, just go for it. I know it's nerve-wracking. Everything you said about yourself describes me to a T, so I get it. But just go up to her, apologise for not being able to be her partner for the assignment, and ask her if she'd like to get coffee or dinner one night to make up for it. Or offer to be a partner for the next assignment. Even if she says no, what's the worst that happens? She says no and you move on. You conquered your anxiety once. Now just do it again, my friend. And that is good advice there. And I agree, OP should just talk to her and say, hey, I'm sorry, I couldn't be a partner for this assignment. Can I make it up to you by getting you coffee, or can I get you lunch? And that gives you an opportunity to have lunch with her at college, or grab a coffee on campus, and get to know her better. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this one down below. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.